Drama!
Guys, it's been
Drama.
almost 43 minutes. I'm sorry, tech bros. We are now moving on to Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla.
It's time for DougDoug to call out Mark Rober.
Yeah, you need to do it. We need first of all, we need an enemy for this podcast.
Yeah.
All good podcasts have enemies.
Okay. It's
Can you set the stage?
interesting timing because the last week we talked a whole lot about Tesla versus Waymo, which is basically the difference between cameras in a car versus cameras and LiDAR in a car. LiDAR being lasers that shoots around and it can like see what's going on irrespective of whether there's light in the camera or there's fog or whatever else. So what, 2 days later, I think, Mark Rober, giant science YouTuber, if you don't know, very family friendly, makes this video where he compares Tesla to another company, Luminar, who makes LiDAR. So basically he just does a bunch of tests of this exact thing. Of a car, Tesla.
Was crazy.
Yeah, timing's crazy. Of a car that just does cameras versus a car that has this LiDAR system built in. And so he puts out this video, and somewhat predictably, the Tesla fails several of these things, and the LiDAR system succeeds at all of them. For example, if there's like super bright lights in the car, I forget exactly which ones Tesla failed. It failed like half, but like super bright lights, or rain that is falling from a bunch of hoses that completely obscures the vision, right? And then the last one is he went through a fake cartoon painted wall. So he's like, and if you're looking at the video, you can see it. He drives through a wall that is painted to look like the background. This is not something that happens in real life. But the point of this is like there is a physical object on the road and the laser LiDAR system absolutely can detect it, but the cameras can't because the cameras, it just looks like the road is continuing, right? So he did this test and it's very fun and dramatic. I thought it was interesting, the response to some of this. So this was one of the most prominent criticisms I saw. I don't know who Sawyer Merritt is, although in his bio it says investor of Tesla. So I think he's slightly biased.
Sure.
But there's, the timing of this was so interesting. And he posts this video, Mark Rober posts this video, and then on Monday, Tesla stock drops, and Luminar's stock, who makes the LiDAR that he showed off, increed 25%.
It's
Oh my
10
God.
million view video. It's a big.
By two days later, it peaked at a 50% increase. So
Let's see, Mark Rober, why don't you post your Robinhood account?
yeah. So Mark Rober said he followed up and he had, due to criticism, he was like, we did not receive money from Luminar. But Luminar stock goes way up. What Luminar does, they don't make cars, but they make the LiDAR system that they're trying to sell to cars. So they're trying to make like a standalone LiDAR system. So, this guy, Sawyer Merritt, comes in and is voicing some of the big criticisms against this video Mark Rober does. The first up is that he doesn't actually use Tesla's full self-driving technology. He uses autopilot. So autopilot is like every Tesla car basically has this, and it's like a highway driver assist. It just like keeps you in the lanes and whatnot. And it is supposed to brake and stop you from hitting things, but it's not full self-driving. There is, as of the last like 5 years, there's full self-driving SFD that Teslas have, and that's the new thing that is meant to be self-driving. So right out the bat, it's kind of strange. He just straight up didn't use Tesla's advanced system at all. He used the old one from 5 years ago that is not meant for things like this. There's also inconsistencies in the video. So he like posts this clip on YouTube due to criticism of him driving through the wall with the Tesla. The Tesla just smashes through it, but he activates the autopilot mode like 3 seconds before going to the wall, like really late. And that impacts it. Whereas with the LiDAR car, they activate it way down the runway and there's like tons of time for the car to realize there's a wall there. Not only that, he posts this raw footage and says like, this is the raw footage. That's how you know I didn't fake this. But then in the video, there's a different clip where he activates the autopilot earlier in the runway at a different time. So basically they did multiple takes and then spliced them together in the YouTube video, which is just kind of strange and weird. And there's other things people, being like, why was there a child that you ran over afterwards? It was, and obviously the answer to that is it's dramatic and fun.
Yeah,
So I was going to say number 5 was dumb to include because it's like, it's just kind of funny to
it's for the YouTube video. He's a good YouTuber.
Yeah. So it's,
okay.
I think the point is like I think Mark Rober's an extremely talented guy. And I don't think this was well-intentioned, but it is, I think, objectively misleading. The video is titled, "Can you trick a self-driving car?" or "Can you fool a self-driving car?" and then does not use Tesla's full self-driving capabilities. And then basically stacks the odds against it and doesn't give a whole lot of clarity around like, hey, we're doing a bunch of tests and we are giving Tesla as many disadvantages as possible. Disclaimer again, I don't love Tesla and Elon Musk. God damn. But I am at least voicing some criticism. And so, this I would go so far as to say most of the people criticizing this are clearly angry Tesla investors who want to believe the Kool-Aid. I'm not convinced this is some big scandal or whatever, but it was kind of weird and interesting how much of a market impact this video for Mark Rober had, as well as the fact that objectively he gave a lot of disadvantages to Tesla. It's a little weird.
So that was a little bit of my thought. Was you as a YouTuber making this video might not have been paid by the other company, might not necessarily want Tesla to be the party to fail, but if both cars just handle both situations equally fine and you don't put any effort into it past that, you've made a pretty boring YouTube video.
Right.
And I think from an entertainer's perspective, I can understand why he might have made these decisions if the criticisms are accurate.
Right.
And it kind of starts to walk this line of like, how much duty do you as like an entertainer, but also like a science YouTuber that I think commands a lot of respect within the space?
Yes. He's a NASA engineer, or was a NASA engineer.
Okay.
Like,
I'm going to do my best to defend Mark Rober here, but I do agree that I think the most damning criticism to me is that you should have used full self-driving.
Right. That's by far the biggest.
By far
like
the most
he
annoying.
literally used the outdated system that is not meant to be self-driving and made that his comparison in a video called "Can you fool a self-driving car?"
You want to test the latest and greatest.
Right.
And I have a Volkswagen that came out a few years ago, and I have this system like that keeps me in the lanes and stops me from hitting cars. You know what I mean? Like, but I wouldn't expect it to succeed in this situation. So I think that's
But
I think
so
that
here's
is
the
fair.
core thing: is like, first of all, what his results line up with is essentially equivalent to what you said in your breakdown of LiDAR versus cameras and their different capabilities and different strengths.
Yes.
Including fog and bright lights.
Yes.
And so it is reasonable that if this test were to rerun again, even with FSD, this could still be a problem with LiDAR versus cameras. Like it needs to be tested again.
Most likely, the results would be the same.
Yeah.
But the fact that he disadvantaged
it just
Tesla
hurts his point.
unnecessarily, it's just like, why did you do that? Like now there is so much criticism because genuinely it's not fair. Like,
yeah. And then the only other thing I want to mention is a lot of people are pointing out, like if you see right here, see the Rainbow Road goes on?
Yeah.
He turns it on late for sure, but it's on, turns off. And that is because people are postulating, and I read a good article on this, is that Teslas have been shown in multiple instances to automatically turn off before an accident to change to muddy the waters around whether autopilot was engaged during accidents.
So dude, it's like when Disney takes the bodies out of the park before they're declared dead.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know if this is rumored. This is rumored.
Because if you pause this footage,
yes,
when Mark Rober drives through the wall, it's just Mark Rober driving.
Yeah.
Tesla autopilot's off. So fucking checkmate.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. That works.
Like,
no, he's
that
right.
has been shown. Like there was a Tesla that drove into it was a white truck and it thought it was the Horizon, or it was a blue truck that thought it was Horizon. And they drove into it and the person died. But they said autopilot was off at the time. You're laughing a lot at this guy's death, by the way. It's really funny.
I'm not touching you.
No, if I was a truck driver, I would not paint my truck to look like a Horizon, like some fucking lunatic.
I think it's a bad idea. I agree.
Bait people into killing themselves in my truck.
It's probably not the smartest trucker move, but this guy dies, and every time this happens, they kind of muddy the waters. Like autopilot wasn't engaged at the moment of crash, but it was engaged, seconds before. And it if it's too late to brake, but it still detects a collision, it does turn off. And they say it's for the reason of let's give back to the humans. They have last chances. But it feels very muddied the water. So while I agree with you, I really do. I was kind of disappointed because I feel like Mark Rober had a real chance to have an open and shut slam dunk on LiDAR. And instead, because of these errors, it muddies the water. So no one can. But I also think this points out, this footage is pointing out what a lot of court cases have already shown, which is this is a real thing that Tesla was getting investigated before Doge wiped out a lot of the investigative areas that were looking into this. So
that's just coincidence.
That's just coincidence.
Allegations.
So I don't know. I'm ambivalent on it. I wish they would do. I mean, he's getting so much pushback. Maybe he will do a follow up or do some kind of more strenuous test or. Maybe,
it's interesting. Yeah, it's super interesting.
I would love to know more detailed.